Welcome. We're live, Synergy in Motion, and my name is Mariana, as you can see. Ta-da! And I have Tom and Paul with me today. We are discussing on this fabulous Fitness Friday. Oh yeah, say hi, guys.
Hey, what's going on? Hey!
Yeah, so we'll be discussing today muscular endurance. That might sound like something that nobody is familiar with, or maybe you are, I don't know. And the basic definition of muscular endurance, according to personal training professionals, is the ability to produce and maintain force production over prolonged periods of time. What does that mean? Why don't one of you answer that? Go for it.
Why don't you? It's what? Force production over a certain amount of time?
Yes.
What's force?
You're the professional.
We were talking about muscular endurance today. It's one of the components of fitness, which is muscular endurance, muscular strength, cardiovascular, and body composition. So today's topic is on muscular endurance. Muscular endurance is basically the ability of the muscle to continuously contract over and over, either statically, which means, like, say you're pushing against a wall, two opposing forces there, over an extended period of time. So, I mean, the definition is actually the ability of the skeletal muscle to repeatedly and statically contract or exert submaximal force over an extended period of time. Now, I probably lost you on that. Skeletal muscle is the muscle that lays over your bones. So, we have smooth muscle and we have skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle is voluntary, like it doesn't move unless we move it. Give me 1 second here. Get rid of this. Okay. And then we have statically, which is like if you push against a wall, your muscles are contracting, but they're not really moving. They're static. And it's a maximal, just means not full max. So if you were to do strength, it would be full max. But some maximals like less, like you can do more. Actually, muscular endurance is where I usually start new clients when I was training. I would start them with muscular endurance because their body has to adapt before we can give it heavier weight. And so it's one of those things that you do. So basically, in layman's terms, it's just repeating over and over. Your muscles contracting over and over. Like doing a push-up, like doing squats for a lot of reps. So 20 push-ups would be muscular endurance, whereas if you could only do one push-up, it would be muscular strength. So that's muscular endurance benefits pretty much everyone, athletes and everyday people. I mean, just think about some of the activities you do during the day. You know, scrubbing a floor. I don't know. What's an activity you do?
Sweeping.
Sweeping. Yeah, just
mopping.
Everyday activities. Was that?
Mopping.
Mopping. Yeah. So everyday activities, you benefit from that as well. It decreases cardiovascular disease, improves your body composition, which is your overall body composition, how you look and how much weight you're carrying, your muscle, your fat. Increases lean body tissue, and it also decreases physical injury. It also increases your strength in your bones and your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments. So and it decreases osteoporosis.
That's good.
Muscular endurance is one of those things. Am I echoing? Hear an echo. Anyway,
it was just a little bit delayed.
it's kind of like what we start with like with kids, like in PE, because I teach PE. We do a lot of muscular endurance in PE, just because it's lower stress on the body. Like it doesn't put as much stress on the bones, and so we do a lot of that in PE, like sit-ups and push-ups. And I have to do squats and lunges and stuff like that too, but we do a lot of different type of muscular endurance, lower weight kind of routine, submaximal. It's not your max. It's not how much you can lift one time. So
Okay.
there are many muscular endurance exercises are also very similar, or can actually be considered cardiovascular as well in nature. I mean, there's different types of exercises that you can do that will get your heart rate up, just like you're doing with the cardiovascular kind of things. I used to train a race car driver, and you want to talk about muscular endurance. That's all that is. I mean, all we would do is muscular endurance. That's all he wanted to do, and I mean, he would crank out repetition after repetition after repetition until he couldn't go anymore. It was just.
Wait, but they're just driving.
Yeah, but you're sitting in a car and you have the forces against you the whole time. It's not just driving. It's G-forces.
It just looks like driving.
G-force is hitting you the whole time, and sitting in that position the whole time and having that concentration. It's not just driving. It's not like you just driving on the freeway.
Oh wow,
You know,
I didn't know that.
They're going, 150 to 200 miles an hour. 100 like 100 miles around a turn. Think about
That's crazy.
that. Yeah, there's a lot of force on the body, so you got to train for muscular endurance. Anyway, that's what I got. I mean, I could probably go on more and more, but it's just one of the phases that we go through before we get to the muscular strength, because your body needs to develop, it needs to adapt. You need to put on a little bit of muscle size before you can go to the heavier weight. So you lift heavier, because your body won't take it if you do it too early. So anyway, Tom, you got anything to add?
No, not really. I mean, you did a pretty good job at that, explaining it. I had a question for you. So what if somebody's just starting to work out? Like they're, how does muscle endurance impact them?
I mean, I call it it's called anatomical adaptation. It's basically your body is adapting to new loads, new exercises, new stresses put on it. So it just benefits them, because when you're first starting, you don't have a lot of strength. You don't have the muscle development that you have when you've been working out for a while. So it's just adapting your body and preparing it to do more intense exercise. So really, that's where we start. We usually start with like 2 sets and about 15 reps. I mean, that's usually where I would start, of a lighter, not like 2 pounds, but a weight you can do for about 15 reps, 20 reps, and do about 2 sets of more what's called compound activities, compound exercises, which are big muscles like squats, rowing, where you're rowing, pushing exercises, things like that. The big muscle, not the isolated, not the single muscle like the bicep. The bicep's a smaller muscle, so you'd want to train the bigger muscles, doing more sets or more reps with lighter weight, or actually no weight. You can do squats with no weight, lunges with no weight, because a lot of times when someone's first starting out, they don't even have the pattern. Like, they haven't developed how to do it yet. They don't even know how to do a squat. I mean, I worked with a guy, I want to say a month before he could even do one squat. I mean, he just couldn't do it. He just didn't have it in him. I don't know. He hadn't developed the pathways, right? The motor units?
Mm-hmm.
That because when we do things more and more, it becomes like ingrained. So it just becomes a habit almost. But you can't really move on until you get those down. So you want to start with the muscular endurance. That's where we usually start. And like with kids, you don't want to put the big heavy loads on kids because they're growing. You know, you don't want to
Yeah.
don't want to stunt their growth by making them lift too heavy. And actually, they're not ready. Maybe their bones aren't ready for it. You know, that's why we start with the muscular endurance and build them up and put a little more bone mass, not bone, but muscle mass on them, hypertrophy, muscle size, before going to the heavier loads.
Right.
What
are some simple exercises that would increase, like, say, cardiovascular activity? Because I know, like, I hear all these big words, and I'm thinking a lot of people don't understand what these words mean. It might frighten them because it sounds too technical, but I mean, because I've heard that if you're, if you want to, the best thing to do would be either like biking or running or playing sports to build up muscle endurance. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's the way to do it. I don't think that really. I don't think that replaces like resistance training, though.
Right. Well, I think they have to do that, but what I'm just trying to do is to give them some concrete examples. Can you give some concrete examples of activities that they could do? Resistance training. So now we say running, biking. Are there any other specific activities without scientific words that they could do to increase their muscle endurance? Like, can you give them any type of ideas? I guess I'm looking for.
Well, I mean, okay, so if I were to start someone out, this is what I do. This is exactly what I do. We do push-ups,
Okay.
some kind of push. We do something for the back row. So we do a push movement, we do a pull movement for about 2 sets of 15 to 20 reps. Usually there's no weight. Usually just body weight. Repetitions are how many times you go. So 1, 2, 3, okay. And then sets would be like I do 15, that's 1 set. And I go to the next one, would be 2 sets. So I would maybe do, push, pull, maybe some core work, like bridges maybe, where you're laying on your back and you're pushing your hips up and then down. So you're getting a little bit of core work there. Lunges. So I usually just do like one of each thing when I start, and 2 sets of about 15 to 20 reps.
Okay.
So something simple like that, just start out with that for at least 2 weeks to a month is good. Just doing that.
Okay.
If you can get a little more weight, you can increase it a little bit. So like if the 15 reps is really, really easy for you, because it shouldn't be super, super easy. Like it should be somewhat taxing. Like when you get to 15, you should be getting somewhat tired. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
We're just not talking really, really heavy weight. We're just talking, medium size. So if the most you can lift is 50 pounds, you're probably lifting like, 20 pounds at a time, 15. Just depends on the exercise.
Okay.
But yeah, so I do a push, a pull. That's pretty much, so push-ups, maybe a light bench press. I really don't put new people on the bench press right away. I really focus more on just the basic body weight exercises. I think that's like the best thing you can do, to be honest.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think people need to be getting on the machines, on the weights, if they haven't developed.
Right.
Yeah, they haven't developed where they need to be to get on that. Because, I mean, if you just do body weight, just look at gymnasts, for example. They pretty much all they do is body weight, and they're crazy strong,
Yeah. Hey, Paul, can you explain what progression is?
Can I explain what progression is?
Yeah.
Progression's just like, say you start at 15 reps and you want to go to 20 reps. That'd be a progression. Or let's say you start at 15 pounds and you progress to 20 pounds. It could also be used like in the sense of a training program. So, for example, if you're in sports performance, you don't just train the same way all the time. We have phases. So we progress to a different phase. So there's like a anatomical adaptation. That's where the body is being prepared to do heavier exercise. So adaptation, your body's adapting, it's changing. Anatomical is just, body, just how our body works. But so we start there. We go to muscular endurance because you want to start putting on some size for the muscle, and build up the bones and the ligaments, tendons, you can go stronger. And then from there you go to each phase. I'm just it's a progression. Each phase is I'd say a month to 6 weeks before you move to the next phase. So I do like muscular endurance. Well, like I said, anatomical adaptation would be like 2 weeks, maybe a month, depending on the individual. If they're progressing, if they're ready to go, they don't have those weaknesses, you move on. Muscular endurance, muscular strength, and then if you really want to, you go into power endurance. So, but that's a whole different thing, and that's more sports related. And you just kind of continue that cycle. You can just continue it. So you come back around.
So it just rotates.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So you're progressing through the different phases, but you can also progress and lift heavier. You can progress for more sets, more repetitions. So there's different ways to go about it, but I have found the best